Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. Good morning, Curt. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Good. I'm doing wonderful, and Happy New Year to you. It's exciting to be in 2025, and always great to finish up a year and keep moving forward.
For sure. Happy New Year to you as well. And let's do just kind of a little reflection here this morning, Curt, to start us out and reflect on 2024 for the DeWitt County Development Council. I feel like it was a busy year. You had a lot of things going on, from grants to, I know you had a hand in several businesses that came to town. Let's just kind of dive into the year that was for the DCDC.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our, always our most popular things that we talk about is our grant program. And last year was as large of a dollar amount that we were able to distribute to DeWitt County businesses this year. And super excited. Yeah, super excited about that. We'll try to match what we did last year this year. That's still a little bit up in the air. But we should see, that 30,000 plus range dollars that go to DeWitt County businesses, and we're so appreciative of, of course, the county that helped fund those. Also, First National Bank helps fund some as well, and then we use some of our own direct funds as well. So it's a great program, and it's the one that a lot of people talk about, and it really does put a boost into local businesses, so particularly the smaller businesses. In terms of some businesses, I was excited when I heard Taylor Baxter in kind of his parting interview. He talked about with the city of Clinton. He mentioned a couple of things. DCDC was involved in both of those, the new subdivision and the new bank coming to town. So the subdivision, that discussion began, before Taylor's arrival, even with the city, and we're glad we could help ignite that a little bit. The city did a great job when they took that project on and got that developed, and it sounds like it's going well. And then, of course, the new community bank coming to Clinton as well. That everyone is driven by that building, I'm sure, and seeing the progress that's being done there, and we look forward to have them operational in the spring for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned, I don't mean to have a squirrel moment here with you, Curt, but boy, how excited are the folks in Farmer City to have a guy like Taylor Baxter coming to work for them?
Well, first of all, from a personal perspective, I'm glad I get to continue to work with Taylor. So, he could have easily gone to somewhere else in the state or country or those things, but I'm excited to be able to continue to work with him and develop that relationship that we've built, and continue doing some good things for the city of Farmer City from his perspective. And I can still, ask him questions about things I need to that have recently happened in the city of Clinton. So just a win-win for me, and I think it's a good win for Farmer City.
Sure. Well, back to DCDC business in 2024. You mentioned those grant cycles. I remember talking to you maybe this time last year, maybe a touch later or before, give or take. But was the grant cycle, as because you had mentioned words like or phrases like largest investments in local businesses we'd ever had, things like that. Did you end up being able to, but then over the course of the year, it felt like there were some delays on some of the cycles and such. Were you able to invest as much as you thought you were going to be able to at the start of the year?
We were just slightly under what our expectation was. I think we intended on our expectation was around 45,000 at the beginning of the year, and one of those grant cycles we were able to increase those dollars that we did, but from over prior year. But one of those grant cycles we're going to push into the spring, so we'll actually have two bigger cycle years with the grants. So, and we would have been glad to have done it last year. It's just the timing needed to be into next year, so we didn't have a couple of them back to back. So we'll be kicking off grants in spring as well. But yes, we were so excited to be able to help fund projects for local county businesses for sure.
Mhm. Well,
Yes.
on the development front, it had to be nice to get a couple of wins last year, because I venture. We've talked about this a lot over the years. In the world of economic development, the public has this perception like something opens and you were talking to them, 3 months before to pave the way for that grand opening that particular day, where in reality it may be 3 years you're talking to a business. It had to be fulfilling to see some of the things you've been working on kind of come to fruition in the last year.
There's no doubt about it. And yeah, anyone that it's really rare to only have a 3 month cycle with businesses. I mean, it's generally a much longer period of time. So 2 to 3 years is the norm. And so realistically, we're working on things that we hope to get done this year that started 2.5, 3 years ago. So yeah, for sure. But it is good to see those things fall into place. So looking forward, you look, the grocery store for Farmer City is a perfect example. That's been going on probably 18 plus months, and by the time the doors open, it'll be over 2 years. But the reality of it is, had those discussions not happened 18 months ago, the doors wouldn't be opening today
Mm-hmm.
or in the future. So that's where it all begins for sure.
Curt Homann,
So
Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, on the Zoom call with us today. By the way, Curt, I just talked to a gentleman that is over in Farmer City. He said you guys didn't have hardly any snow over there.
we did not. We don't have 1 to 2 inches is all, which I'm excited about. I just that's 1 to 2 more inches than I hoped for. But I'm glad it's not worse. I'm ready for spring. I'll be honest. So
Shoveling the snow outside on my porch, and then outside the front door of the station this morning, I was like, "Yep, let's get to spring. Time for spring."
yes, absolutely.
But no, in terms of back to DCDC things, I keep having these
Sure.
squirrel moments on you here, and I apologize.
It's all good.
But no, in terms of DCDC victories this last year, what was the most substantial thing you thought? Whether it was the ability to invest in local businesses, whether it was a business you had a hand in helping get going, or a project you had a hand in helping get going that is coming to fruition. What was maybe the most satisfying thing of the last year from the DCDC side of things?
It's hard to pick, because honestly, a $3,000 grant to a small business, is so meaningful and so impactful to that business. That may help them buy a piece of equipment that increases revenues 10, 15, 20%. And that makes a substantial difference to that business. It's always exciting to bring in new business, and the new bank in town, was exciting. Certainly, the new subdivision for Clinton to see, lots being sold, and that ground move, that was really exciting as well. But from my perspective, it's the day-to-day business. It's no secret we've been working with the movie theater, and honestly, if I had to pick one, that's the biggest success we've had. Over the last year, and they've had some struggles. It's been a tough time to be in the movie business, but we really have a path for them moving forward, that looks very, very positive. Obviously, they need to continue to have the community support, but we look at that, and that's a business that many movie theaters have closed across the country. And my work with them has helped keep them operational in Clinton, and actually in 2 other communities as well, since
Yeah.
they're all tied together. So
Tell me
huge success.
tell me that story. What's going on there?
Well, it's if you follow their social media pages, they've been very open and upfront about it. But when COVID hit, that was a huge hit to the movie theater industry. They also had followed that with a writer strike and an actor strike, movies that were being produced that people didn't really want to go see. They had to be shut down, of course, during COVID for a lengthy period of time. And financially, their expenses didn't stop simply because people don't come to the movies. Some of them did, certainly, but you still have to pay, building payments and insurance and utilities and all those things. So there's still a lot of expenses that came open. And again, across the country, many movie theaters closed. Our local one wasn't, was able to withstand that for a while, but we really had to get creative in helping them help themselves keep the theaters open. So we're not out of the woods yet. I'll be honest with you, we're not out of the woods yet, but things are looking much better than they did a year ago. To me, that's a personal success.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
You're good.
With that, giving them kind of a plan and a map to success. Pardon me, Curt. Are you at liberty to speak to, and not necessarily in great detail, and I don't even know if you can talk about it if there's like a kind of a privacy thing there, but what's going to change, or what's going to make the difference for them? What are some things that they'll be able to lean on and do that will give them those opportunities for success?
So yeah, I'm only sharing really because I can share, because they've so shared on social media, and there's certainly a lot of the behind the scenes things that I can and won't at this point. If they want to, that's fine. But you can follow their saga, I guess, on social media. They've been very, very open and upfront about it. But really a restructuring, of revenues a little bit, so building some different revenue cycles. We looked at expense. We talked 2 to 3 times a week, the owner of the theater chain and I, and it's all times of the day or night. And so, he really has a sounding board, in terms of, hey, here's where we're at, here's how things are going, here's what we struggled with this week. And he knows his business better than I do, or anyone else on our board by any means. But sometimes it's just good to have someone to run some ideas and talk through with. And we've shared a lot of that. But we've sat down. I've done a financial audit on it. I mean, not a real audit, but you look at the revenues and expenses, and you say, you make recommendations based on those. And so it's really, it's going to really restructure his whole business. He's found an investor as well to pump some revenues into the business, and that's been a lifeline for sure. But things look moving forward. Things look increasingly better for sure.
And it's funny, you kind of say some of that there, Curt. I was just this weekend, watching football and the college basketball and all that stuff, the commercials would come on with the movie previews, and I'm sitting there making supper watching the Illinois game last night, and I'm like, there's a movie preview came on. I was like, between that movie, there's another one, and then there's like a third one from the summer that I never got to see that I wanted to. I was thinking, for the first time since probably COVID, there's a small handful of movies where I'm like, I actually kind of want to take some time out, go to the theater and enjoy these. So, I think the quality of movie is getting better, where it's like people are perhaps maybe wanting to go out and see some of these.
It has, and it starts there, for sure. It starts there, and movies were a huge part of my youth, and they continue to be with my family, and it's great to have, a theater in Clinton for sure. So to me, in DCDC overall, that's really my biggest success personally. But I look at the individual businesses that we helped with grants or in other regards, and think just how wonderful what we do to help those businesses is. I just I go to sleep happy every night. I'll put it that way.
How do folks get a hold of you there, Curt? Whether they've got a business that maybe it's struggling, or maybe they just want to bounce ideas off of you, find out what resources you may be able to help them with. How do they get a hold of you?
A lot of people message me on Facebook on our DCDC page, DeWitt County Development Council. A lot of people call or text 217-935-5271, and that phone is virtually always with me. Don't always have it on Sundays, but it is virtually always with me. So,
Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, on the Zoom call with us. More to come with Curt on the morning show. WHOW.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
This is Connie from Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton, and we're ringing in the new year with weekly sales. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and DeWitt Daily News for the latest updates on the sales for the week. And don't forget, bring us your donations, so come find your treasure.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
There's a reason WHOW is the Big 1520 across central Illinois. That's because anytime the sun is up, you can hear WHOW's big signal from Jacksonville to Peoria, from Pontiac to the Indiana state line, and to Charleston and Effingham. Anywhere you travel in central Illinois, take WHOW, the Big 1520, with you in your car, truck, or tractor. Just another reason why WHOW is Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and talk station.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services walk-in clinic inside Family Medicine can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, on the Zoom with us here for this morning. And Curt, we did a look back at 2024. Let's do a look ahead to 2025. What's coming up this year for the DCDC?
Yep, absolutely. And, I think last time we were on air, we talked about business goal setting. So DCDC does that a little bit for itself as well. I always preface that with we do what businesses need us to do. So, if businesses need us to go in a certain direction, we pivot and move that direction. But for 2025, I'm actually really excited again about 2025. And again, a lot of that is because what we've done 2 and 3 years ago is starting to come into place. But we would be looking to add another board member to our board. We have a fantastic board. Fantastic board. But adding one more board member is certainly a goal for me this year. We do need to increase our investor dollars. So we are funded. We're funded privately and publicly. So all of those dollars makes a huge impact on what we can do at DCDC. And there's still a lot of legwork, a lot of phone work, a lot of discussion work, but those dollars really do correlate directly with what we can do for county, the county businesses, and that's of course every city within the county as well. We're going to complete our website early on, hopefully late towards the end of this month, maybe early February. We want to focus on our revolving loan fund. We've already implemented a new borrower earlier this year. It was late last week, and that helped a business expand, add some employees, and it was a pretty darn small loan to be able to get that done. So just a couple of heads up on that. We have a low interest loan fund that can go directly to businesses. Yeah, it is gap financing, so sometimes it doesn't fit an exact bank or traditional lender's requirement. We can step in with funds to help a business move forward with their plans when it makes sense to do so. And again, the interest rates on those are 3 to 5%. up to a 5-year term, up to $50,000 to generate some revenues for a business. So we want to continue with that. Of course, our grants, I think I've talked with that. And again, I want to expand the number of businesses that I work with, whether they're new or existing businesses. Love to have some manufacturing back in Clinton, and we're gonna make a focus on trying to get some manufacturing business to fill some of the warehouse space in Clinton, in particular. And I expect with some hard work, and we'll get that accomplished as well. But as always, a lot of big plans, a lot of excitement at the beginning of the year, and I look forward to talking to you again this time next year, so we can hopefully say, yep, did this, and here's where we've come, and here's where we've gone.
Sure. Well, Curt, you mentioned the economic development piece and how you're funded. I know that the county, under new leadership, and not to say that the former leadership did not was not into economic development and those things, but I know one thing Joe Whitty has mentioned, at least on air with us and in the discussions I've had with him, is a focus on economic development. So how about and I know they sold the marina with hopes of the money going to some of that. Just how about some of those things very quickly? I've got about a minute here with you.
Yeah, so in all fairness, those discussions again were going on under prior leadership as well, but Joe clearly has a real focus on economic development, and the rest of the board. We do have 2 board members that serve on DCDC, Joe being one of those. Joe's the president of DCDC this year. So he's a great addition. And I do feel as though, the county's making progress in that regard. But I'll say that it's really because we're making progress as an organization as well. So, the two go hand in hand. So it takes us doing all the right things, or most of the right things, to get the support of the county on board, and
Sure.
And I feel like all of that is absolutely coming together, and I couldn't be more proud of that. Honestly.
Very good. Curt, always good to talk to you, sir. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. Network News is now.